Hello everyone, my name is Bhavin chhatrola. Currently, I am pursuing MSc Statistics SEM 4. Today, we discuss a project poster presentation, and our poster presentation title is Statistical Analysis in Annual Growth Rate of Expenditure Components of India's Gross Domestic Product (GDP). So, our abstract is this study looks at India's GDP and spending parts from to 2011 to 2025 using statistical and time series method. Descriptive statistic and correlation analysis show the relationship between and variability among GDP parts. Regression analysis finds consumption and investment as main drives of GDP growth. Growth rate and pair t-test analysis show the difference between nominal and real GDP because of inflection. PCA helps find key influencing factors and time series methods are used for trend analysis and forecasting. Overall, the study gives a clear understanding of GDP patterns and economic performance. Then after introduction, domestic product is the total value of all final good and service that are produced when within a country in a set period. It works as an important indicator of how well a country economy is doing. GDP also, if the economy is growing or declining, and is useful for both policymakers and researchers. It can be measured in three ways, which are production approach and income approach and expenditure approach. This is the three method of calculating GDP: production approach, production method, income method, and expenditure method. The expenditure method includes consumption and investment and government spending and net export. There are two types of GDP, which are nominal GDP measured at current price and real GDP, which is adjusted for inflation. GDP also shows the contribution of sectors such as agriculture and industry and service, and is widely used in statistical and income studies. Uh, this is our objectives of a project to analyze the descriptive statistical characteristic of GDP and its component at current and constant price during the period 2011 to 2025, to study the relationship between GDP and its component using correlation analysis, to analyze the long-term trend of GDP at current and constant price using time series method, to develop a linear regression model for predicting GDP using its component, to compare regression result based on current price and constant price. Data using a pair t-test, to study the distribution pattern of GDP data using quartile measure and dispersion techniques, to develop suitable टाइम सीरीज मॉडल फॉर फोरकास्टिंग जीडीपी वैल्यूज. रिसर्च मेथोलॉजी है, यहाँ हम ये सब मेथड यूज करने वाले हैं: कोरिलेशन एनालिसिस, मल्टीकोलिनियरिटी, पेयर टी टेस्ट, डिकी फुलर टेस्ट, एरिमा मॉडल एंड मल्टीवेरिएट रिग्रेशन मॉडल. तो फर्स्ट है हमारा डिस्क्रिप्टिव स्टैटिस्टिक. दिस इज अ बॉक्स प्लॉट ऑफ करंट जीडीपी, करंट प्राइसेस एंड GDP constant prices. It is so that the analysis show that GDP at current prices is highly volatile and spread out due to the combined impact of inflation and growth. In constant GDP at current prices is in contrast, GDP at constant price is much more stable and consistent as it reflects only actual economic output. This is the trend of current data. We saw that the GDP value increasing to 2011 to 2018-19. Then after 2020, 21, the value is decreases because of Corona. Then after also the GDP value is increasing. The time series plot show a strong upward trend over the 2 years. The increase is steeper, indicating both real growth and inflection effects. The regression coefficient of time is positive and statistically significant. Then after this is also trend in current data. Here the in current data the trend is also upward but smoother compared to current prices. Growth effect, real economic expansion without inflection impact. The slope is positive, confirming sustained economic growth. Lower variation compared to current GDP suggests more stability. This series is more reliable for analyzing actual economic performance. Then after in our data, the multicollinearity are present. So we remove multicollinearity using a principal component analysis. This is a script plot of a principal component analysis for a current data. And we saw that the PCA1 first component explains 85% of total variance. Then PCA1 plus PCA2 explain 93% of total variance. So the first two components gives 93% information for the data and remove multicollinearity. This is the uh, principal component analysis for a constant data. Now, this is the script plot of this. PCA1 explains 67% of total variation for constant data, and PCA1 plus PCA2 explain 83 percentage of the total variance. Means our first दो वेरिएबल है वो 83% इंफॉर्मेशन टोटल इंफॉर्मेशन देता है. दिस मींस मोस्ट इकोनॉमिक इंफॉर्मेशन इज कैप्चर्ड बाय अ सिंगल कॉमन ग्रोथ फैक्टर. देन वी कंपेयर a mean GDP means using pair t-test. The pair t-test compares the predicted GDP values obtained from the regression model based on current price data and constant price data. The t-value is a 4.5 to 92 is relatively high, indicating a strong difference between the two set of predict value. The p-value 0.000566 is much smaller than the significance level of 0.05. This clearly suggests that the difference between current price GDP estimate and constant price GDP estimate is statistical significant. The main difference shows that GDP value based on current price and are constantly higher than those based on constant price. The confidence interval does not include zero, further confirming the significance of the difference. We use a time series forecasting for a forecast value of GDP for 5 साल के लिए, अगले 5 साल के लिए. We use a decupular test because to check our data is stationary or not. This is a decupular. It is useful to find the data are stationary or not. यहाँ हमारे p value 0.3035 greater than 0.05. So the series is stationary. This confirms that data is suitable for ARIMA modeling. This is a forecasting using ARIMA model. This is a value of a forecast GDP value of forecasted year. 2026 is above 5 साल. And this is a graph of a forecast of current price GDP. ARIMA analysis indicates that GDP at current price follows a steady upward trend, reflecting consistent economic growth over time. The model fits the historical data well and projects continued gradual growth in the coming years without major inflection. While short-term forecasts are relatively reliable, uncertainty increase for long-term prediction. Since the data is nominal terms, the observed growth is influenced not only by real output expansion but also by inflection and changes in price. The conclusion: GDP at current overall conclusion. GDP at current price shows higher higher fluctuation due to inflection, while GDP at constant price remain stable and better reflect a real economic growth. Therefore, constant price GDP is more reliable indicator of true economic progress. जीडीपी जीडीपी जो है वो हमारा इंडिया की इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ को डिनोट करती है. The trend analysis show a steady upward trend is GDP from 2011 to 2024. मतलब कि जो ट्रेंड एनालिसिस का ग्राफ है वो शो करता है कि जीडीपी वैल्यू हमारी कैसे इंक्रीज होती है 2011 to 2012 to 2024 to 2025. Principal then after principal component analysis show that the which component are give major information from the data. मतलब कि जो हमने जो ये प्रिंसिपल कंपोनेंट एनालिसिस किया है वो दर्शाता है कि जो क्या कौन सा वेरिएबल जो हमारे डेटा के लिए more information देता है. Then after the pair t-test analysis confirms that regression result derived from current price data significantly differ from those based on constant price data. The presence of inflection leads to higher GDP estimates in current price, whereas constant price data provides a more realistic representation of economic growth. Therefore, analytical and policy making purpose, constant price based regression models are more reliable in capturing true economic performance over time. The ARIMA-based forecasting model indicates that the current price GDP is expected to maintain a steady upward trend over the next 5 years. The model effectively captures the historical patterns and provides reliable short-term prediction. मतलब कि जो ये हमने अरिमा मॉडल किया और फोरकास्ट किया है वो दर्शाता है कि नेक्स्ट 5 ईयर में भी हमारी जीडीपी ग्रोथ हो रही है बढ़ रही है मतलब। थैंक यू।